Well, thanks for listening in. This is Richard Rahn with the Leonardo Group, and I need your help with something. I think we have a great opportunity in front of us, but before I get too far down the road, I need to get your feedback on a learning opportunity that, in the words of Donald Trump, could be huge. Now, before I tell you the details, let me give you a little background on this, a little background story. Now, when I first started my life as a lean consultant, 1994, so I'm dating myself here, I had the great opportunity to work with some of the biggest and the best companies in the world, basically, implementing something that at that time, and it still is, was very new and exciting. And our specialty, and this is still our specialty, is what we call mixed model line design. Now, as many of you know, we, meaning Leonardo Group, my company, currently teach this topic in partnership with Toyota Material Handling. So the subject is still current and it's still needed. But here's what we ran into often in the 1990s. The method that we used was a static design. It was based on an assumption of mix and volume. That is to say, it was based on a fixed list of products and product volumes that would drive the entire design. Now, at the same time, we knew that once this production line or value stream came live, that line would never actually build that mix of products. The real world would always be different from the original design assumptions. The art or the skill of being a line designer using this static model was to try to anticipate all the gotchas in order to end up with a robust design. And robust means that production line could handle the basically guaranteed changes in mix and volume without choking and dying. And by dying, I mean being unable to produce the volume of products needed to meet customer demand. So that's where we were, with a fairly high degree of uncertainty about how the line was going to actually perform once it was physically put into place. And remember this, the most expensive time to be making changes or improvements to your design is once it's been built, once it's been physically created. So the cost of improving a paper design is less than 10% of the cost of changing things physically once they're already in place. Now, in the 1990s, there was something called computer modeling or computer simulation. And computer simulation tools had actually been developed a long time before that. I remember even taking a simulation course during my MBA program in the 1980s. But here was the problem. For our uses as lean designers, these simulation software tools were basically unusable for several reasons. First, and probably most importantly, they were way too complicated. To be good at it, you really needed to be an expert, and you really need to be a computer programmer. The models just wouldn't really do what you wanted them to do without this level of expertise. Now, the second thing, if we didn't have this level of expertise, then we'd need to hire someone. And for most of our projects, that just wasn't in the budget to hire a simulation modeler. And the third thing is the time that's required or was required to build and validate a model would usually not fit within our time budget either, within our schedule. It would just take too long. So while there were computer tools available in those days, it was just not a practical alternative in most cases. Now, fast forward to today, right, 2015. Things have changed, but not really that much. Computers are a lot faster, and the software has improved a lot, but it's still complicated. And when I talk to manufacturing engineers at companies that do have access to simulation tools, and I ask the MEs if they're using them, the answer usually is no, because of the learning curve. It's too complicated. And this is coming from people who are smart, no doubt about it. So that's where we are today. So what has changed from this? Well, this is, I guess you could call it story number 2. Full disclosure, I personally had visions of becoming a simulation expert myself. And I actually joined one of the leading simulation companies in the year 2000 as their lean expert. But what I quickly learned was that it would be a full-time job to really get good at it. And that was just not in the cards for me at that time. I did develop an appreciation for what was required, however, by working in that environment. So about 2 years ago, we, Leonardo Group, were invited to work on a large line design project with a large company that you're familiar with, but who wishes to remain anonymous. And simulation modeling was actually in the budget for this project. So I went back to my friends at my former employer, which is the Kaplan Business Group, and I shared this opportunity with them. We talked about it, and we hired them to work on this project. And they're experts in a number of different simulation software packages like ProModel and a bunch of others. But the head of this company, named Jalal Kaplan, had also developed and I didn't know about this, but he shared with me, he developed a dynamic simulation tool using Visual Basic, VBA, and Excel. So we looked at all the alternatives, and the Excel tool seemed to be the best choice for this project. And let me tell you, this is a full dynamic simulation engine, not a Monte Carlo simulation or anything like that. So it performs full, discrete event dynamic simulation modeling, the real deal. And the output is the same as you would get from ProModel or any other higher-end software tool. So we used it on this project, and it was successful. So stay with me here, because it's now about to get interesting. After our success in using this tool, I started to wonder what would be next. Here we have this tool. It's not being used for anything, really. And finally, here was something that even I could use, and I could do what I needed. It would do what I needed it to do to validate other designs, mixed model line designs. And what that would do for us as designers is allowing us to test for a range of mixes and volumes for changes. And this was the first time that I actually had a simulation tool that didn't have a huge learning curve associated with it. I mean, there was still a lot to know, admittedly, but finally I had something practical that I could use myself as a lean designer, as a lean consultant. So, could it be sold as a simulation product? Well, the answer is probably it could. But this was something that Jalal Kaplan Business Group was not interested in, getting into that business. So selling, and actually more importantly, they're happy with selling, but more importantly, supporting software was not really of interest to them. They're too busy doing other things. So for about a year, this Excel simulator just languished on a few computers here and there, not being used. So here's where I need your help, your input. A few months ago, I approached Jalal Kaplan, the head of this business group, and I proposed something new. How about, I said, if we create a training program, a workshop, focused on simulation modeling, and we just give the software away for free as a part of the course. It's included as a part of the course. And you, Jalal Kaplan, and your group won't need to support it because it's being offered to our students as a teaching tool. And the students can use it to their heart's content. They're not limited in their use of it, but you will not need to staff up to field phone calls or maintain a user forum and have a phone answering, chat sessions, and et cetera, all the things that go along with actually trying to sell and support software. That doesn't mean that he's not open to questions or feedback, but he won't have to gear up to do that. And that, with those conditions, he agreed. He agreed to this. So here's what you're going to get in this proposed 3-day, we're thinking 3 days workshop. Number one, you're going to get a crash course in mixed model line design. Now, our normal course, the one that we teach at Toyota, is 3 full days. But in this case, we're going to need to go fast. But this is important because you need to be applying a methodology, a proven methodology. And the software is also somewhat geared to this same methodology. So we're going to have to review that and get that out of the way. Next thing, number 2, you're going to learn how to build models using you're going to bring your own laptop. You're going to be provided with the tool and with data by us. And we'll build, and we're going to validate several different models during these 3 days. We'll start with something simple like an assembly cell, and we're going to go up from there in complexity. Number 3, you're going to learn how to interpret the output or the results. This is critically important, and it can be very confusing when you're seeing this for the first time. So you'll be trained in how to do that. Number 4, you'll be applying the results of your simulation models to improve your initial line design. So you'll know how to use this tool for process improvement or design improvement. Doing what? Well, by adding buffers, adding resources, restructuring the process flow, changing the mix of products, changing the sequencing and developing sequencing rules. These are all ways that you can use this tool to actually come up with a more robust design and plan. Number 5, you'll get to spend 3 days with one of the most experienced simulation experts in the world, really, which is not me, by the way. That's Jalal Kaplan. He has his PhD from Southern California in industrial engineering, and he's been providing simulation services for many of the world's best companies and governments as well around the world for quite a long time. So you get to spend 3 days with him, kind of one-on-one. Now, you'll also get to spend 3 days, and more if you want to stay longer, in the Colorado Rockies. We're thinking about hosting this workshop just outside of Denver, which conveniently is not too far from our offices, so there is a hidden agenda there. So just outside of Denver, up in the foothills as you're going towards the ski areas, but overlooking the city of Denver at a conference center that we know there. So if you'd like, plan to stay for the weekend after this conference. You're just about an hour from Vail, hour from Breckenridge and Winter Park, only a half hour the other direction from Denver, maybe 45 minutes from Boulder. So we're thinking about, in terms of time of year, we don't have dates yet, but we're thinking about November or December of this year and finding a week that would work in there. Also, if we have enough interest, we'll be scheduling some of these workshops for next year as well, for 2016. And finally, last benefit here, you get to go back to your plant with the skills to actually build models and with the software tool to do it. So that is huge with an H. So we have some other bonuses planned for you, some other training opportunities included in this package, as additional bonuses, but that's the main idea. So here's the thing. Before I get the wheels turning to make this actually happen, I need to know if there's enough interest from you. And I'm not asking for a commitment. I'm not asking you to register, but I'm asking for something, an expression of something more than just mild interest or, yeah, this is something that I'm interested in. It has to be something you'd be willing to pursue, assuming that the cost is reasonable. We haven't set that yet either. But if it looks like this is something that you're willing to pursue further, find out more, then just click on this link below. And this will just put your name on a list. That's it. And I'll see if the list is long enough, if there's enough interest, then what I'll do is I'll get this going, get the wheels turning on this actual workshop and follow up with you personally and let you know about it with an actual announcement. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening, and please send me an email directly, personally, if you have any other questions or comments that I can help you answer on this really exciting opportunity, really unique and really exciting. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.